I say that is the main foundation. So come let us go hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together. This also goes for every Trinbagonian who want to live in a foreign land. Now is the time to come home and do something, instead of staying out there and freezing. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production.
Yes, now more than ever before, we, the pronoun we, more than one, we, the people, must show discipline, tolerance, and production, because this country is depending on that. Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique is depending on we, the people, to put our hands to the wheel, to the plow, and produce. Produce for your family. Produce for your community. Produce for your country. And do not think for a moment that you can pretend you're producing. Because with technology, with people actually observing what you're doing, you will not get away. So please be genuine on the project to build this country. Be sincere. Be authentic. There are people in our communities, for example, who would do things not for praise, not for accolades, not to be noticed, but they do things quietly but effectively. And they do it from their heart. So I am saying, let's build. We need nation builders to step forward and transform this place we call home. If you are viewing me on Facebook and on YouTube, share the live. Sharing is caring. You underestimate, you sharing the program, how helpful that can be to reach more people with the message. Because that's really the objective, to reach as many people as possible with the positive information, with positive messaging, so that they can understand this country is being transformed and we are moving forward as a people. I want to start off this morning by saying, in a real way, as the meat of the conversation for this morning, the government is very focused on agriculture, on education, on healthcare, and on human resource development. You know, only just this week, a number of things happen in agriculture, for farmers, for fishers, for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. But this is not being talked about that much. It might be featured from time to time in the news, but after that, it's dead. All right? And then you have the opposition, who is very negative. They would not talk about the good things that are happening in the country. Only yesterday evening, someone said to me, You know, I'm fed up. I'm fed up with the NNP always highlighting bad things, but they are bearers of bad news. They are like the people who just believe in doom and gloom. They wake up and they have a bad temperament. They have a bad attitude towards life. They wake up and they start complaining, grinding, and groaning, not even opening the door and seeing the sunset or the sunrise, not even opening the door and feeling the breeze, or seeing rain falling, or seeing people moving. But they start off the day grumpy and bitter and sour and vexed, not even thanking God for life, health, and strength, and family, and the ability, to see and to talk and to smell and to taste and to walk and to. We take these things for granted. But that's, the NNP, they act in such a way. And you can relate it, you can connect it to some people. Not even understanding how precious life is. And you have the opportunity to change things for the better. You have the opportunity to turn things around. So people are noticing the NNP's grumpiness and arrogance, plus their constant complaining. They're part of the complaining industry. They just complain. They're negative. But Grenadians want good for this place. They want to get up and produce. They want people to come and help build and transform. There are people who are very good at stating problems, telling you about all the problems. But when you ask them, do you have solutions for the problems? They don't, but they can tell you what the problems are. And I always say to people, if I hire you to do something, I don't want you to come and tell me, this is the problem, that is the problem. I want you to fix it. I want you to get whoever to fix it. So I am saying to the NNP, you're in the opposition, but you can also be responsible. You can also be constructive. And you can also put forward solutions, good recommendations and suggestions to turn things around. If you believe that there is a problem, what can we do to fix it? And if you're seeing good things happening, why not applaud it? We have some really good public officers, We have some ministries that are working in the best interest of the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. Look at the Ministry of Agriculture just this week. Just noticing what they're doing. Just this week, they give an update on the livestock breeding program.
Lauren St. Louis, Chief Extension Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Forestry and Marine Resources, shared an update on Component 4 of its Food Security Enhancement Project, which saw the importation of 466 purebred animals from the United States of America on January 4th at a cost of over $4 million. Ms. St. Louis spoke to the breeding program of sheep, goats, and pigs. She says it is a significant step in the country's food security enhancement project.
The animals are now in 3 locations. They're at Laura, Mirabeau, and St. Patrick's. So the plan for them is to ensure that the breeds that we get, that they are bred with our local breeds, to have more of that lineage. We don't want it to be that when we give a farmer a goat or a sheep or a pig, that they fatten it and then they kill it for Christmas.
Right.
You understand? It needs to be a program, because then if you do that, then that's just the end of it. In that 9-10 months that you have it fattened, that's the end of it. So we will have an agreement with the farmers who would receive them, and so that they would know that you would have to, this is for breeding. Right. You would breed with the with the locals, because we have some very good local strains, but we have to be, we're going to be getting better.
Right.
So it's a breeding program.
The animals, St. Louis says, are already allocated to farmers. However, the ministry has also retained some to conduct its own breeding program to ensure the continuity of the program.
The animals have been acclimatized because they would have come from the US, and it's a very different system. Right. All of that it's very different. And so even when the farmers get them, they would have to understand that it's a different system.
Okay.
These animals are accustomed being indoors, or sheltered. It's not that you could just go and tie them on a tree and leave them for days. You would have to make sure that even if you have them outside, that they can come back inside and they're given the proper feed, they're given the proper nutrients so that they can really realize their full potential. Because you don't want for government to invest all of this money and then the goat is a little straggly goat because you have not fed it properly, you have not treated it properly. So we're really working with our farmers to ensure that they understand what is needed, and we're working to, well, actually some of the animals came in and surprise to us, some of them were pregnant. So we have kids. We already have kids that we, so we're working on them, and we're trying to ensure that these programs are sustainable.
Farmers in the program must have a full understanding of the process in order to realize the overall objective of strengthening Grenada's food security.
Because if you just go doing everything in this kind of ad hoc way, then you end up not being able, 5 years down the line, we want to be able to go outside and see where they are, and look in the supermarkets and see local meat, and see an increase in local meat over imported meat, and see that consistently rising. We don't want after then you have to go and try to look, and then now we have to go and import animals again to start over. We want to be able to build on everything that we started.
The initiative offers direct support to 25 pig farmers who will receive facility upgrades along with 1 breeding boar, and 25 small ruminant farmers, both sheep and goats, will also receive facility upgrades and at least 1 breeding buck.
So that's very good, because remember, the NNP criticized that initiative. They condemn that initiative. But here you see it is bearing fruits. They are striving well, the animals, and the Ministry of Agriculture is very pleased with the outcome so far. They have invested $4 million or so in getting these pure breeds, and they are mixing them with the local. But here it is. During the NNP time, the butchers, they had to import the cows, the goats, the sheep, the pigs from St. Vincent and other places so that they can slaughter them and sell them. So the NNP never had the vision to embark upon such a project. They never had the vision. So NNP condemned this program, but NNP was in power. And during that time in power, the butchers, they had to import from St. Vincent or neighbors to slaughter and to sell. But now we are breeding right here. We are looking down the road, looking at food security. And I love that. But the NNP still condemning, still criticizing this particular initiative, which is really sad. But we are moving forward. The Ministry of Agriculture, they're doing a fantastic job. And we have to give them kudos, thumbs up. Just this week, the goodly lady provided an update because, people want to know. All right. And then we have the whole coconut production. That too, they're importing about what 12,000 plants, because coconut is a big thing in this country.
Several local farmers have given the nod to the introduction of over 10,000 germplasm material that is expected to arrive in Grenada in the next few months. The importation of the varieties are among activities of the World Bank-funded Food Security Enhancement Program. The undertaking within the coconut industry seeks to promote improved qualities of the crops, increased quantities, and strengthen the livelihoods of those who depend on the coconut industry. Farmer Devon Fullerton is hopeful that this initiative will help to boost the coconut industry.
When I was younger, my mother, we used to drop coconut in Tempe, where they had a factory down there, and we used to make soap. So we had coconut in a bundle. So if that initiative really go through, and we could get back coconut to be like a main sector in the agriculture sector, that would be very good for us. That would be very good, because right now you have the coconut water, and also even the jelly. You could make a punch with the jelly that comes from the coconut and sell it also. And then you could use the coconut to make oil and make all other things. So that is good.
Another supporter of the venture is Winston Otley.
I believe that the varieties that have been brought in, some of them will be resistant to some of the diseases that we have, and I think it is a good initiative to bring in better varieties, more improved, and so we kind of guarantee that we would have a better production and safe from some pest and disease that could knock us out. Those for oil, those for oil. And I think with those two, we can have a lot of the oil in particular. There are several industries that can come out of that variety, what we refer to as the tall, the Pacific tall. I think there's many industries that can come out of that, not just one thing. So I think it is going to be good for food, good for employment, and in terms of health.
Both Fullerton and Otley were recently trained on the management, identification, and control of pest and disease in coconut production to improve the commercialization and industrialization of the industry. The undertaking includes the importation of 12,000 seed nuts by the government of Grenada, 1,800 from Cardi to establish 2,300 acres of coconuts in Grenada.
Yeah, this is good. This is wonderful. But the NNP condemning this and criticizing this, they were in power. We had all kind of beetle, all kind of things affecting coconut in the country. You would have a coconut tree and you just see it start to, all the branches and everything just start to fall off, or rot from the head. And then we heard about the beetle and we heard about all kind of thing affecting them. But the NMP was in power. They never thought about these things, but they're quick to condemn. They're quick to criticize. They're quick to complain and talk bad about these things instead of coming publicly and applauding it and commending it. That is what you want in an opposition. You want them to be constructive. Not everything you condemn, everything you criticize, everything you have something bad to say about it. Even the tissue culture facility that was recently launched, the NNP is criticizing that in
The
Maribor.
advancement of plant and crop production was realized on Thursday, 27 March, with the official handover of the Maribor Tissue Cultural Laboratory. Through the support of the Chinese Agricultural Mission, the Ministry of Agriculture continues to advance the building of capacity and sustainability of the agricultural sector. The new facility will bolster the sector in the production of a variety of disease-free planting material, which will enable an increase of quality production of crops by farmers. This being a part of the government's plans towards Grenada's food security mission. Minister Lennox Andrew expressed his elation in the completion of the facility and spoke to the collaborative support of the People's Republic of China.
Today, we mark an important achievement in Grenada's agricultural journey. A journey defined by resilience, by science and innovation, and by partnership. The official handover of this modern tissue culture laboratory is indeed a remarkable achievement, a moment of glory for our country, and it is also a powerful symbol of the enduring friendship and collaboration between Grenada and the People's Republic of China. A true friend is a steady anchor, a safe harbor in the fiercest storm. And therefore, on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, the government and people of this country, I extend sincere appreciation for this timely and transformative investment in our nation's food and agricultural system.
Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell spoke to the significance of the Tissue Culture Laboratory.
Far too long, agriculture and food security has not been prioritized in our country. And it has, in many respects, placed Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique in a very vulnerable position. And so it is important for us to emphasize in our presence here, today's testimony of this, that we take the revitalization and the growth of agriculture and the stability that food security brings as a matter of significant priority for the country. And I would dare say at this time it is perhaps the single most important priority for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
Prime Minister Mitchell further highlighted the absence of a functioning tissue culture plant and the importance of the facility in the sector.
We have not had a tissue culture plant in Grenada for over a decade. And if we are serious about agriculture and we don't have such a plant that is essentially the start of the cycle of producing agriculture, then we could not be serious about agriculture. And so this is a significant step in ensuring that at a foundation level, we are doing what is required to make sure that all persons who are interested in farming, not just those who are farming now, all those who are interested in farming gets greater access to planting material.
The Morabo Tissue Culture Laboratory will be the home to innovative techniques and technology in the production of plantlets. The facility is valued at $685,000 EC dollars.
Yeah, so when you ask where the money going, we are seeing where the money going. Agriculture is very, very important, especially what you see happening around the world. All right? The trade wars and that kind of stuff. You have to make sure you invest in agriculture in a serious way to guarantee food security. But all these things could have been done under the NNP, but they never do it. They never embark upon it, right? But they could condemn those NNP surrogates, pundits, goons, zygotes, sycophants, man, condemn, criticize, everything they condemn it. Mr. Church and the Ministry of Agriculture, they're looking at Dumfries and what could happen there for the farmers.
For the last couple of days, we've been preparing the site. The excavator was here yesterday. So we're clearing this area here to set up a roof. We're going about 10 feet up. There will be a bladder or two bladders down there. We'll be collecting water from the roof, sending it to the bladder, and then distributing it to the farmers. All the farmers will have received irrigation system, drip irrigation system. We had to change the original design of the project. In consultation with the farmers over the last couple of days, they indicated to us that it's better if we go higher with the roof so they can stack tanks beneath the roof to provide additional water storage facility. So most of the farmers are located down that side. There's about 11 farmers that will be benefiting from this project here. Basically, the project is a pilot. Over the next three years, we'll be monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness of the project. Thereafter, we are hoping to be able in a position where we can scale up the storage facility that we would have been piloting here. Most of the farmers, the major challenge here is water. As we know, Carrico is very dry. So we're trying to assist the farmers in providing that additional source of water where they can continue farming continuously throughout the year or get maximum production during critical periods of the year.
Yeah, so again, the Ministry of Agriculture, they're doing a fantastic job up there in Carrico. So Carrico is not left out. So when Nolan Cox talking, he must be thankful and grateful to the Ministry of Agriculture and what they are doing in Carrico. So yes, we know he loves to condemn, criticize. He's the prophet of doom and gloom, but highlight the good stuff too. Highlight the good things that are happening in Carrico and PT Martinique. That's one of them. Because you have farmers who depend on water. And here you have the government doing what they can to make sure that they have water, constant supply of water. So talk about that too. Nothing wrong with you condemning, Nothing wrong with you criticizing. Nothing wrong with you talking about the bad things. But you must also applaud the good things. You must highlight the good things. And when you condemn, when you criticize, also put forward suggestions, recommendations, ideas on how to improve, how to make the thing better. Because Grenadians are not stupid. Most of our people have access to the internet, have access to information. And we see things all around the world. So what we want in Grenada is a constructive opposition. That is what we want in Grenada. A responsible opposition, not just one to condemn, criticize, be negative, negative, negative. Nah, we ain't want that. We want something better. And people are noticing it. I follow some of the NNP programs or those anti-government programs. And I think they may, down the road, the hosts and hostesses, they may suffer from psychological problems. Because you see, negativity can take a toll on your mental health. You become so negative that you can see nothing good. And many a times it's right in front of you. You can see nothing good. You're so negative. It can take a mental toll on you. And that's just a warning. You have to balance it off. You have to be able to talk about the good things, highlight the good things, and nothing wrong with talking about things that you think should be enhanced or improved. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But when you're all that negative, then it can take a toll on you. All right? Can have an impact, a negative impact on you. So I want to urge them, because I listen to them. They run their mouth about everything. And they highlight, right now, they are highlighting the fact that Emlyn Pay and Kate Lewis and Clarice Modeste and Keith, they're going to sporting events and they're cheering for this school and that school. And I say, but that's the same NNP who docked the salaries of the teachers. And there was a walk to rule for years. No sports, no intercall, no parish school sports, no school sports generally. Nothing like that for years under the NNP. And they never cared then about the students or the athletes or the children. They never cared about them. They never even seek to resolve the issue between the Grenada Union of Teachers, teachers generally, and the government then. No, it was not politically expedient. They didn't care. They had all 15 seats, back to back, all 15 seats. They became complacent and they thought that they were the it all and, they were the bosses. And over time, kids or the athletes, they lost good opportunities. Good opportunities. But now the NDC paid the teachers the money that the NNP took from their salaries. Everything is back to normal. And who is the first to go to these events? The NNP, the MPs, because they think it's easy to go to these events and get 15 seconds of fame. People will see them. They would give the impression that they care. And, that's how they operate. Excuse me. But it's clear that our Grenadian people know for plenty years there was no sporting events. And it's not because of the teachers or the principals. It was because of the NNP administration bad act of going into the salaries of teachers, taking their money, the NNP administration taking their money around at Christmas time to hurt them, to make them feel it, because they went out and protest. They went out and demonstrated for the kakada, their pension, and their gratuity. But look today, who fronting? The NNP, they're the ones fronting. They want everybody to see them. They want to be noticed. But they never did anything to fix the relationship. In fact, they did more things to damage the relationship between the teachers and the employer, the government of Grenada. Also, in following the NNP programs and so on, they are talking about the police, and that historically the police officers supported the NNP. And you ask yourself, but what was the police supporting them for? Or what were the main reasons behind the police officers supporting the NNP? And it was a falsehood. They believed that the NNP at the time cared about them. They believed that. They thought so. And it only took the NDC to come into power and do what the NNP was not doing for them, to make the police officers realize who really care about them. Look at it, because you hear it on those NNP programs. Look at it. The NNP promised in 2018 a police headquarters. who came and delivered a police headquarters to the RGPF, the NDC. The NDC came and built or get that police headquarters for the police. For decades, the police officers, the association, they were clamoring and fighting for pay and grade, for them to get better salaries, for their scale to improve. In other words, for their salaries to be brought up to the level of the teachers, the nurses, that kind of stuff. For years, they were fighting for that, under the NNP, who came and gave them the pay and grade. The NDC. The NDC. Look at the amount of police stations that are being refurbished or fixed. The Hillsborough Police Station, the St. Paul's Police Station. Now they're embarking on the Grenville Police Station, the Central Police Station. Work is being done at Coast Guard. So, who really cares about the police? NNP or NDC? The answer is obvious and very clear, very easy. The police officers, they were able to get the 13% increase plus fringe benefits under the NDC. I mean, it's different. Look at the amount of recruiting of officers, a number of batches of police officers, right, or trainees went in and became police officers. Yeah, under the NDC, quite a number. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 batches or a little more than that. Somebody could help me here. But it is clear that the NDC has done more, far more for the police than the NNP. But you hear the NNP talking about police and what they did, and you ask yourself, but how we ain't seen it? What really you did for the police? Right? But I'm happy that people are able to see through all those lies from the NNP. They're seeing through it. And that is what is important. Very, very important. All right? The NDC had some, I think there's the NDC Women's Arm in St. David, right? They have an event coming up, I think on Saturday, tomorrow, the 5th, a breakfast tomorrow. And then you have the NDC Women's Arm having one further down during the month. All right? I was looking for it because I remember somebody sent it to me. Somebody sent it to me. All right? Somebody sent it to me. I was looking for it. But I know at the Corinth Community Center from early o'clock, I think 7 or 6 tomorrow, they're having that breakfast. They have music and, they have a thrift shop. There are good vibes there. Folks, the politics is being played out in, is it the Maribor area? That area where you saw some farmers complaining about the water. All right? Yeah. In the Maribor area. And the PS in agriculture came forward and explained what is happening. But let me say this to you. There's a lot of politics at play with this particular news story. I think GBN brought that news story or news item. Couple of the farmers who spoke there, they're NNP supporters, well-known NNP supporters. And don't believe they know the strain placed on that water storage facility or dam. They know. And they know the purpose for which it was built, for the Maribou propagation station. But they were getting some water. And then you have more and more farmers started going there and doing their stuff. And then they were using the water even for domestic use, domestic for the house, and so on. Untreated water. So the NNP now gets involved, all right, and trying to push a certain narrative, thinking that people are going to fall for it. Because you see, NNP strategy is to get involved in these kind of issues because they still hold dear to them that politics is grassroots. So if they can penetrate this group of farmers and make them believe that they care about them, because the NNP was in power. The NNP never built any facility for these farmers because the NNP could have easily helped them with storage because we have an abundance of rain when rainy season is rainy season. They could have easily built some storage there so that we can have water for a long time in that area. But the NNP never did anything for these people. No. But today, the NNP fronting. They want to be front and center. So they want to speak to this farmer, speak to that farmer. But the majority of these farmers are NNP supporters. But that's their business. But don't turn the thing into a political thing because it will not benefit you, the farmers. Now people realize what's going down. Two people called me, one from overseas, one here, said they know the 2 or 3 farmers who spoke, said they are bad NNP supporters. So they want to create a scene. But during the NNP time, the NNP did nothing for these people. Nothing. Nothing at all. I am saying we need to be very careful by turning these things into politics because it would affect the farmers, not the politician. All right? And then you have what is happening in the Woodford area. Think Renault construction or something like that. All right? We're understanding now that what is happening there with the quarry and so on, it is because of competition. And again, you have certain people who have a quarry and they're well-known people. All right? They're setting up certain people to create a problem for that quarry. But the quarry that they have, they're not able to supply the needs of the country so that roads could be fixed and other things like that. They are not able to supply that. But they pay in certain people, even journalists, to go and create a scene and to do this story and to talk about this and then check the person who is the spokesperson speaking about these things. Again, you need to understand what's taking place. So these individuals are being paid, many of them, to push these things to undermine this new quarry because they don't want competition. They want to hold the government at ransom because the government has to fix roads. And there are a lot of roads to be fixed. Plenty. But the quarry or quarries that we have at present, they're insufficient. They're not able to produce the amount as required. So now you have a new one. So the competition there is a problem. And those who are behind the one that's here, or the 1 or 2 that's here, they are known to be involved in these things because they seek to undermine. That is what they seek to do. All right? Yes, so happy, let me see, what's it? Let me see here. All right. All right. Now just looking at the date. Somebody sent me something here. When I'm looking at Nutmeg House presents Oil Down Saturdays. So that's Nutmeg House in New York. Every Saturday. All right. They have t-shirts and pins on sale. So Nutmeg House, everybody knows where Nutmeg House is located in New York. 1215 Flatbush Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. 11226. For orders, please call 646 406 4518 or 718 600 6230 or 929 249 9440. For that's for those in New York if you want oil down. All right, so thanks, Denny's there. So, folks, I'm saying you have to understand who behind certain controversial things here, who pushing certain things. Once you understand that, you're good to go, because they're trying, you see competition. They don't want the competition. So they're trying to undermine one and cause some people to think, environment. And okay, all right, yes, we're concerned about the environment, but you have one. And the one that is being set up is more environmentally friendly. So you have to understand what is going down, what is at play. All right? So, folks, I want to thank you for being a part of the program. I want to wish you all the best for the weekend. I will be back with you on Sunday, God's willing, from 1 to 2. Again, on that journey, we cannot stop. We have to continue to educate our people, disseminate credible information to empower our people. And that is what we're going to constantly do on this program. So have a wonderful